This is Power Athlete Radio. With your hosts, Denny K, Professor Booty, and the Luke Summers. And now, toes forward, hips locked, shoulders set, and retract those scapulars. It's time for some knowledge bombs.
Athlete Nation, what is happening? Episode 50 in the house. It's going to be a good one. We have the guys from Barbell Shrugged joining us. Woo! Right?
Yes. How the hell you doing? Dr. Bras.
And of course, we got the badass power athlete coaches, Luke, Callie, and Tex. And the mad genius himself, John Wellborn.
Hello.
What's happening?
I'm excited. I shook John's
This is
hand
huge.
once at the CrossFit Games like 3 years ago, and it completely covered my hand
Banana
in
hands?
an unreal way.
Yeah, he talks about someone's hand he shook 3 years ago that was like shaking a small baby's hand on a grown man with a beard.
Yeah, I'm like
I
a
remember him.
carny over here. Small
Yeah,
hands
it's
and
always-
smell of cabbage.
It's always weird when you go to shake somebody's hand and their fingers only come to like mid-palm on you, and you're like, ooh.
It's gotta be awkward.
And they're not a child.
Well, and then you look down at their feet when they're wearing a women's size 6. You're like, ooh.
You're talking about me.
And then instantly you look at the package and you're like, ooh.
And then you hire her, and her name is Callie Hinsman. What's going on, guys?
We're ready to have an exciting show of, I guess there's going to be some trivia fun and some shenanigans to be had.
There will be, indeed.
Fantastic. I think I got to try to lower my voice as deep and better as I can get to try to compete with John's voice.
Exactly.
I've been actually
The
practicing.
sexiest voice on the show.
Oh, guys, you guys are such flatterers. I'm so embarrassed.
So,
Batting my eyes.
So John actually, he's been working on his speech a lot because I don't know if you guys know this, but he is the next leading commentator and what is it?
I am a color commentating analyst.
I want to say
She was
analyst.
going to call me an analyst, but an
Analyst.
I'm actually doing some color and as an analyst for CrossFit for the regionals at the games.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Celeb status. It's one step below an anchorman.
Yes. Yeah. So I work tandem with the guys that do the play-by-play, and hopefully give them some insights and my perspective on what's kind of going on. So we were up at Santa Cruz, up at CrossFit HQ last weekend for a boot camp, and I realized how watching last year's regionals and the games and the final performances, really the nuances, and I got a lot of research. I need to know more backstory. At some point I'm probably going to pick your guys' brains just on the volume of information. I mean, there's a ton of history and there's a ton of backstory with these competitors, and I got to know it all. So
You guys have like your finger on the pulse of all these athletes. You interview everyone, huh?
We
what's
put our
the pulse
fingers
on
on
the inner thigh? What's that pulse on the inner thigh?
I was just thinking I would love to be a color commentator. I couldn't be the guy, but it's like Doug could be the guy who actually points out everything people should be paying attention to, like all the real information, and I'll be the guy who just throws in the dick joke or like the distracting comment. Like, I'll be your John Madden, and you would be who's the other guy? John Madden, the actual legit talent.
Pat Summerall or something?
Pat Summerall, yeah.
So that's known as the play-by-play guy. The play-by-play goes and takes you through the action, and then the analyst gives like the insight. So the way we kind of allude to it is the play-by-play guy sets up the ball, and then the analyst knocks it out the park. So
Will you be drawing any inspiration from JR from the WWF?
who's JR from the WWF?
Oh my God.
Oh shit.
We can't let CTP be on the show.
The guy had
right here.
Yeah,
Wrestling
was that the guy
audience
with-
is way in.
Yeah, the only guy that I'm taking is kind of inspiration a little bit is Marv Albert, and just likes to bite people. So he's into biting, but when we started looking at different commentators, people I like. I'm a big Chick Hearn fan because I grew up a Lakers fan, And the fact that Chick Hearn like coined all these phrases that we use in our kind of normal vernacular, like the slam dunk. Chick Hearn close that. Slamming the refrigerator door shut. Chick Hearn came up with that. So I looked at that. I've been coming up with like Vin Scully, and I've been trying to listen to all these guys, and it's amazing to hear that these like talented play-by-play announcers, that they can just speak in these definitive sentences with no filler words. Like there's no they're not repetitive and it's stuck in the same.
Well, here's the thing: we don't want to make John out to be something he's not. We want John to have his. We've been working on his persona, and so I want him to have a very distinct persona. And we were talking he had a barbecue over the weekend for his birthday because he's getting a little older now. But we were practicing, and essentially we want him to. We want him to use his sheer size to sort of dwarf these, like, you know, they're obviously the most elite athletes in the world, but we want him to, you know, like, use his size, maybe rest his elbow on their shoulder as he's interviewing them.
Or scoop them up like babies and hold them, like have them like nuzzle into me. So, but that's also another issue because, you know, most of the CrossFit guys are somewhere in that 5'6", 5'8", even sub 6 foot range. So at like 6'6", I'm gonna have to like squat down or sit. I don't know how it's gonna be, but. You know, the other thing, too, is, you know, I'm probably not going to eat another carb for the next 14 weeks to get in shape because I feel that Miranda Allred is so lean that I'm going to have to do something out of this wall. I mean, I might not drink water ever again. Just how do
you think I never looked fatter in my life when I was sitting next to Rich with my shirt off. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Well, I mean, yeah, like the only thing you can do is maybe just shave abs or maybe get some shading done. I was thinking maybe just going and getting airbrushed. Like I wanted to airbrush my traps and like my delts and then
you know, abs like overnight lipo.
Well, the other one too, and when I was going to the commentating, we were obviously watching Rich from Helsinki, where, you know, the overhead walking lunges. And the thing which is so amazing is Rich has got such a perfect beard from year to year because we kept watching. It's almost like he either has a Flowbee or something where he's able to keep that beard perfect, or maybe his facial hair is just so perfect that it just grows to that length and looks good. And then his, you know, chest is pretty clean shaven. I mean, it's a
pretty clean shaven. It's perfectly hairless and uniform and glistening. That guy sweats perfectly. His hair is usually pretty perfect. The beard grows in a way that is totally unblotchy like mine. Mine just gets long and dirty looking, and I look like a vagrant. He frustrates me on every level.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like it's like if you had to go back and design your perfect, you know, CrossFitter. You know, no chest hair, perfect facial hair, great hair, you know, muscle capacity, all this other stuff. I mean, he's fairly humble. I mean,
do we know if he's had any cavities? Is he had any dental work? Did he have braces as a kid?
Probably not.
Impossible. He's probably got like a 20/10 eyesight, so he can see the wad from miles away.
I still do want to set up a legit donut showdown. 'Cause I'm like, if there's anything I'm going to beat that guy at, it could be that, but there's nothing in me that guarantees I could even compete with the donut eating. Even though I'm playing you think I'd have no problem.
What if we go to the DMV and we test vision? Could I beat Rich Froning in a vision test? Because I got pretty good vision. Like, I'm going with that one. Like, I want to challenge him to basically cover your right eye, cover your left eye. Can you read the bottom line?
I'll take him in a case race.
Oh yeah, Luke Summers is actually like, have you ever seen those like the snake, how they can unhinge their jaw to like swallow something 7 times their mass? That's Luke Summers when it comes to drinking beer.
I call it the beer pelican.
Well, I mean, it's from years of actually getting the balls and shaft in your mouth at one time.
I've got that beer chugging skill too, but I always attributed it to you know, those really dark years of sports supplements, like in the early '90s, where like GNC protein powder was the grossest shit you could possibly imagine. And you had to get it down, especially the cookies and cream flavor. You had to just get that down. You wanted to be huge, and you had to get that protein down.
I was actually telling Luke this story the other day that when I first started training, you had to take this disgusting protein powder and usually had to plug your nose. The only problem is after you consumed it, it would just give you the most noxious gas and it would just completely destroy you. And I've had this quest for like the last bunch of years that I'm searching for the car that my very first car that I drove in high school. It was a Ford Bronco, and I have it like on Craigslist all over, like wanted, and that picture of the car. And Luke's like, well, how do you know it's your car? I'm like, I'll get into the car, and there'll be remnants of that like terrible smell of protein powder, and I'll know instantly that it was my car. And Luke looked at me.
There'll still be an old school Metrics protein bar in the back that can never be digested. You know the old school Metrics protein bars that had like the medicine looking label, the old school ones. Like
the one that was just white with it like like a laser burning on it.
With you, you'd chew on it for like 45 minutes trying to get it down. Like a mouthful of chalk and like cement.
Do you remember like, what the flavor of those were?
Yeah, it was vomit. It was just everyone was vanilla. They had this deal where Metrics was known as the perfect replacement meal, and they weren't called protein shakes; they were called replacement meal shakes. And Metrics had this deal where they believed that you didn't need to eat food; all you had to do was take these Metrics.
However, they were not approved by the FDA.
And these bodybuilding guys, because the Metrics guy here's here in Orange County, so I have some bodybuilder buddies I used to train with, got signed into this study that was put on by I forget the
mad scientist,
the old dude, the old guy started Metrics. So he had this deal where he like paid them to get ready for their show, just eating nothing but Metrics. And my one buddy Caesar tells me the story about 12 days in, as he's eating like 6 of these a day, he just like wakes up and he has like stomach ulcers. He can't go to the bathroom. He's like can't move. He's like completely freaking out until he's like I can't do it. So he has to drop out. Well, the guy that ends up winning the money is like absolutely shredded. So they're like seeing him. They're like, dude, what happened? He's like, I never took that shit. I was eating real food. He's like, I just want the fucking money. And he's telling me a story. He's like, God damn it. This guy's so much fucking smarter than me.
If there's anything that'll clog you up, it's going to be one of those damn protein bars. And then somewhere along the way, they realized, oh, we can just like add protein powder to a fucking Reese's cup. That'll be better, right? Yeah. And everybody gave each other high fives and started passing those things out.
And then people are like, it's not candy. It's protein peanut butter cups.
Dude, that like when you're working a regionals tent though.
Oh my god.
And you have so many free protein bars.
That stuff is...
You just start to survive on them, but then you're not right for another fucking...
Honestly, that stuff is like currency after the apocalypse. Like, at regionals, you're like, I'll trade you one Reese's for one, like, fucking Goji bar.
There's one place in the world that's worse, and that's the Arnold Sports Festival in the Expo Hall. And all of us used to go, when we were in college, every year to the Arnold Sports Festival.
Because you had to.
Because we had to, yeah. But when we were there, we were poor college students, so we got the cheapest hotel. It was terrible. And then we would get to the venue, and we wouldn't eat food the entire weekend. It was supplements by day. So you're like, oh, I feel tired from drinking last night. Let's drink some Red Lines, followed by protein bars. It's like protein bars and Red Lines all day. Then that night, you got so much energy, you're like, well, let's just go to the bar. So it's like you go to this place that's supposed to be all about fitness, and all you do is eat protein bars, Red Lines, and alcohol.
That sounds like
back
the
home and
games.
you're exhausted.
You saw that guy almost died from the Red Line?
Yeah. We were competing in a weightlifting meet, and this old guy drank like 2 or 3 Red Lines. He's a master's division, and he dropped down on the platform and went into seizures.
Yeah, I thought that guy was dead.
It was awesome.
He's fine. That guy's fine.
How old, just out of curiosity, how old was the guy? Like real old? Like
he's probably like John Wellborn old, maybe.
How dare you? We are guests on his program.
So like 27.
Dude, I am fucking old, dude. I mean, pro football ages you in dog years, so technically I'm like 100. So
yeah.
John,
this guy was probably like mid-40s.
How long did you play, John, again?
10 years.
Look, man, I could barely make it through like 2 years of college ball before I was wrecked. Your genetics beat mine by far.
Yeah, I was. Before this, I was actually on the phone with my doctor. I go get a physical and all my blood work done, and the doctor called me today, and we were going over all my blood work, and he, was like looking at my androgens and like growth hormone and all that stuff, and he's like, dude, he goes, most of the NFL players that he's worked with, most of the guys that he's seen, he goes, their bodies produce actually no growth hormone from all the head injuries. Obviously, two-term taking a lot of hits. Also, most of the guys he's like have like a fairly decent total testosterone count, but they're sex globulin binding hormone is usually through the roof, so they got no free, and he's going through this whole deal, and he's like, for some fucking reason, you're totally the opposite. He's like, your DH is super high, your free test is high, he's like, your growth hormone is through the roof, and he's like, I think either you just have really good genetics, or he goes, maybe there's something to this diet shit you've been preaching for the last 10 years or 15 years. I'm like,
you could be an X-Man, I guess. That'd be awesome.
Well, I mean, that's what we were kind of laughing about. He's like, I don't know if it's good genetics. He's like, I'd have to go back and test your brothers and your dad and all your family. Or he goes, maybe there's something.
I'm inclined to think it's the X-Men thing, considering you have like zero emotion.
Well, that's actually
his superpower is emotionlessness and
apathy.
Well, years ago, my brother told me, he goes, the secret to playing in pro football is never get up too high and never get too low. So the best thing to do is act like a serial killer. And he's like, just zero emotion. And so you go out there, you're like, oh, I just broke that dude's leg. All right, so what's the next play? Or, everything. So, I mean, my deal was that never get too high, never get too low. And I also firmly believe that all the head injuries to that part of my brain damaged my ability for sympathy and empathy. That's why you get the way I am. So
that was a good proving ground for giant, naturally gifted, amazingly strong and powerful psychopaths.
That is actually exactly what the NFL is in a nutshell. You just actually described it. That's probably the best example I've ever seen. I mean,
probably why it's so fun to watch.
Well, it's because you have a bunch of really big mutants that can move really fast and are really singularly motivated by money and imposing pain on other people.
And bitches.
So, yeah, like bitches and making it rain, fucking bottles and shit. No, I mean, it's great. It's like prison. You basically get paid delivery to fucking wholesale ass for living. I'm like, this is like a prison except with lots of money.
So when you're in the NFL, did the ladies come easy? Just say no, please. Say no.
Wink once for you.
Listen, hey, I'll chime in here. I've heard John's stories, and they're really not that impressive. Opposite world.
You didn't really carpe diem the opportunities, did you?
It's always interesting when you meet girls or just in general that it's like it shouldn't. I always kind of likened it to being like the really really hot chick at the bar, where you just are like, sure, and I played with guys that were real big stars, and it was even easier for them. I actually watched several guys take girls home with nothing more than a grunt or a head nod. I actually was out one night where guys were competing to see who could say the least to take the girl home, and one of the guys, I think the winner was just a kind of a glance and a grunt. So yeah, it was just kind of like and a head nod, and the girl was like, okay.
Who is he? He sounds hot.
I can't get all this, man. Like
he's actually a very. This same guy also had a tattoo right underneath his belly button.
I remember that.
Of a big buck, like a big deer, like a big buck. He had a tattoo of a buck.
Oh yeah.
And his line, he would actually pull it down and show the girl and said, "All you can eat under a buck."
Oh.
Under a buck.
That's too many words, though.
I think he had all you can eat there on tattoo as well. So he would pull it down and show it to her, and he would like, all you can eat under a buck. And I watched him take home numerous girls with that line. It also helped that he was the highest paid defensive player in the league at that point. So, and he was wearing heated pajamas at the bar.
Jesus.
Wow. So we.
And he's going to be playing for Chicago right now.
Yeah, he's still playing. He's still in the league.
All right. Okay.
Who is it?
So we were going over the recipes for the alpha male, and that would have to be one of the ingredients, right? The ability to take home the hottest chick at the bar with just a head nod or a wink.
Or a genital tattoo. Or either one requires a lot of swagger, I think.
Well, I'm always a little wrapped around the axle with whenever people start talking about the alpha, and I'm always interested when, like, especially John Romanello, he wrote that book, Becoming the Alpha. I hung out with John, and we were kind of rapping a little bit about it, and I remember thinking, like, if you have to read a book about how to become an alpha, you're probably not the alpha.
Yeah, but think how many betas are out there that's going to buy that fucking book.
Oh, and that's what he's preying on. He's like, he goes, oh, I'm not expecting you. He goes, there's a good reason you've never heard of my book and you would never buy my book. I have to give it to you and give me feedback.
Yeah.
But he's like, there's a whole group of individuals that are in this beta that have desire to kind of be the alpha. And I don't know, did you guys ever read Neil Strauss's The Game?
Oh yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I mean, probably one of the most hilarious books I'd ever read, and that was really a group of those guys searching in their quest to become the alpha and basically hook up with chicks at a bar.
That's the one about like how to pick up.
That's where the term peacocking came, right?
Yeah, that was probably one of the best. The one guy who's in that book, my buddy who's a bodybuilder here in Orange County, trains one of the guys who's I think like mystery or something. I think I met the guy, and the guy was dressed like an asshole. Yeah. He was wearing like this big like.
I'm mysterious.
Yeah, he was at the gym and he's like, oh hey, he was telling me about it. I'm like, you mean the guy over there with the fucking
Chris Angel Mind Freak?
With the,
looked like he was in a Korn music video.
Yeah.
No, the guy had on a blue and white camouflage cowboy hat while he was working.
What?
And I was like,
that's the guy that had the TV show.
Yeah, that's the guy. And I was like, you mean the asshole over there with the cowboy hat? He's like, yeah, that's him. I'm like,
hey, this conversation, does this make us haters for hating on his cowboy hat? Is this what we're
I like it. I thought we were admiring it.
Well, I've come to the conclusion that merely pointing out stupid shit is not being a hater. That's just being observant and pointing fingers.
Spoken like a true hater.
Yeah.
So, Bledsoe, you and Chris and Doug, I mean, you guys have interviewed like anybody who's anybody in the fitness world. I mean, who stands out as possible alpha individuals?
Well, Denny, they never interviewed me, so I mean, technically.
Yeah, right beside John Wellborn.
Yeah. Well, I can't even get on Barbell Shrugged.
Louis Simmons out of it.
Well, I mean, these guys have been blackballing me for years.
Oh, man.
I'd say, off the top of my head, Khalifa was probably one of my favorites. The reason I put him first is because he seems to have his whole life together, not just like the physical fitness side of it, but he has his business life together and his family life together. Like, he's an alpha in many different areas, not just CrossFit and fitness. He's got it all together. If you're going to be a real alpha, you got to have every aspect together.
He makes you feel great being around too.
He's pretty well spoken. I've seen him on some interviews. So he is. I have.
Oh, you just like him with his shirt off. Let's get over it.
You see him with the sit tricep pose on the new cover of the box, clearly flexing.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even notice it. I was looking at Miranda's quads. I couldn't get past Miranda's quads. Was Jason even in that?
So how many people were betas who thought they were the alphas?
Put us on the spot with that one.
Yeah, well.
I mean,
hard
they
to
can't
answer that question.
Yeah.
Who thinks they're cool, but isn't that cool?
I could definitely know one guy.
I mean,
see, I don't want to drop any names.
Hey, fuck that one guy, am I right?
I didn't want to say Mike Bledsoe, but he's standing right next to me.
The biggest egomaniac ever.
But what's interesting is if you do some research on these personality traits, being a beta isn't necessarily a bad thing. You're reliable. You get shit done. Like it doesn't mean necessarily that you're subservient. This oftentimes come up and step up as alphas. I mean, they're the most compatible.
It's the
Are you justifying yourself?
It's hard with the interviews because sometimes people you get talking to them and you put a microphone in front of them, all of a sudden they don't know what to say.
Right.
And so sometimes they're walking around the room like they're the alpha, and then the moment you get them on the microphone, all of a sudden they get quiet. Some people don't seem like they're kind of like off in the corner somewhere, and they get on the microphone and they just light right up. So it's kind of hard to judge that from an interview perspective. There's definitely some athletes that I thought would be more lively, and then we got them on the podcast, and it was almost disappointing.
You think it'd be easier if you guys didn't video, if it was just purely audio, or wouldn't have mattered?
I think the video does intimidate people. We've brought people on and they didn't know that we were going to video. They had heard it, but they just didn't realize, or maybe they don't listen or watch the show. But they agreed to go on it, and then they get there and there's a camera and they're like, I didn't do my hair. So that was Rich.
Yeah, that was Rich.
Yeah, I mean, Garrett
Rich
Fisher,
Browning's
we had
hair is
to
perfect.
fix his hair for him before the podcast. He said he's never.
Impossible. Rich Browning's hair is always perfect.
There's a lot of activity on social media that he's going bald.
Browning?
Yeah, that's observation. We just had a guy
I didn't want to say anything the last time I saw him, but I think I saw some recession there at the hair.
You got some cul-de-sacs popping up?
God, I hope so. That would be the chink in the armor, being like, you are probably the fittest man on the planet. You're really good looking. God, I got a better hairline. Finally, I got something.
Well, see, I wouldn't even be able to beat him on that. He'd have to have quite a bad hairline for me to beat him on that. So mine's in a very fast retreat right now. I can't
Just gotta get yourself.
I'm the worst of the bunch.
No. Well,
I'll probably get a surgery eventually. Get the hair replaced.
I actually talked to a buddy of mine recently, and they're doing some really cool stuff with stem cells and PRP and all that for hair.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like hair replacement, and actually what's driving. Well, it's kind of hilarious how medicine really works. I mean, there's all this kind of research for cartilage and like regenerating injuries, and it kind of stalled out a little bit. And then all of a sudden, these doctors got into it and realized that they could use it for hair restoration. And all of a sudden, like billions of dollars got pumped into like stem cells, PRP, and like regenerating because they realized that they could sell it for hair loss. I want to say that hair loss research is like one of the most funded deals. I mean, like guys will, like impotence. I'll take some hair loss. I will spend every nickel I have. Like I will go through invasive surgery. I will transplant butt hair on my fucking forehead.
Are those bald guys betas just trying to regain that alpha in the room with their hair from the old days?
Yeah, I think if you're an alpha and you're going bald, you just shave it off and say fuck it.
Yeah, and then you grow.
The most disturbing thing I saw recently was people are getting hair replacements on their cheeks for beards. They're actually getting surgery. I'm not kidding. I read this article. People are getting like plugs in their face, man.
Yeah, that is just about the same thing as like on Beavis and Butthead when they glued pubic hair on their face or whatever. You're not that far off, are you?
They just take the hair off their ball sack and put it on their face.
I gotta agree. I have a shitty beard, but like there would never be a point where I'd be like, no, I need some butt plugs on my face.
You might be able to do a plug for a soul patch, but that's about as far as that would go.
Yeah, I
Well, just make like a mean like neck beard. I mean, because like there's nothing cooler than the neck beard.
Just like straggly neck hair.
Well, no, you shave everything but the neck. I played with some guys that actually had really solid neck beards, and they used to cultivate the neck beard, and I always remember thinking, like, God damn, I wish I had that awesome beard.
No, you know what that style is called? It's called the Pez.
Is that real?
Pez dispenser. Yeah, you haven't. Yeah, trust me.
Listen.
Back and all the hairs there.
Jesus, Tex, you just come in with these little tidbits of information.
Sounds too savage for me.
It's safe to say that Power Athlete Radio wins when it comes to hair because Luke hasn't cut his hair in God knows how long. He's in a hair competition with me, and I don't know what to say.
Yeah, but does anybody on your team have an awesome kick-ass swoop? Because CTV's got the best swoop in the business.
Actually,
Callie, I don't think my hair is that bad, is it? Does it look that bad?
It's just long. Tex has a swoop.
I got Flow. It's called Flow.
Well, I haven't seen that one yet.
Swoop. Is it Beaver-ish? Is it like Beaver's?
Tex is the most confused power athlete. Tex is the most confused power athlete coach for Justin Bieber.
All right, Callie.
Yes.
Is it going to be trivia time?
Yeah, let's do some trivia. Now,
do some trivia.
This was maybe put together willy-nilly by my secretary. Actually,
I'm a secretary.
That's me. I'm talking about myself. So I'm gonna I'll ask you guys some questions.
How are you then? How much do you cost?
Is there a time limit on answering the questions?
No, there's no time limit. We're gonna go for hours.
Use Google.
Everybody should say the first thing. You say the first thing that pops into your ADD deprived, your attention deprived mind. That's what I plan on doing.
Even if you win, by the way, what's the stakes?
Propecia.
All right.
There's
The fact
no
that you guys know what propecia is means you some bald motherfuckers.
there's no time limit. There's also no right or wrong answer.
I love it.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
it's my style.
Oh, God.
All right, so I'm gonna ask you guys. Do you guys know who won first place for the men and women's division for CrossFit?
Burt Reynolds.
Shh, not you.
For the Open?
Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, no, yeah,
So
for
this
the
is
Open.
just Barbell Shrugged, right?
Yeah, Barbell Shrugged.
So Tech, shut up.
What was
Oh,
Sam Briggs and Rich Froning.
first place.
Sam and Rich, right? I mean, they kick everybody's ass all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah. Sam.
Dude, when
Lucky
it comes
guess.
to CrossFit, the default answer is Rich Froning.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I was at the broadcaster boot camp, they told me if ever I got stuck or I didn't know what to say, just say Rich Froning.
That is your filler word.
So yeah, Rich Froning.
Or
Wait,
Rich
wait,
Froning-
the actual
Rich
filler.
Froning's hairline.
You think they told John Madden the same thing just to say Brett Favre?
Actually, I had to go to a few production meetings with Madden, and he was totally off his rocker.
Weird.
And the best part is we had a great rapport, like we had a great conversation at a production meeting, and he's like, I'm really going to focus on you for this game. And I ended up making it on Madden's horse trailer. So I
No big deal.
Horse trailer.
Rich Froning.
So
You know, John,
like, yeah, he had like this trailer. What's that?
I was gonna say, if anybody ever asks you, hey John, what did you do with your life? Like, I made it on John Madden's fucking horse trailer. What have you ever done? With your
Like
time?
on the side of it, or
Game, I
you?
imagine.
So John Madden wouldn't fly anywhere because he was scared of flying. He was in a plane accident when the plane
Mhm.
crashed, and he was on one side that didn't, on the side that didn't go down, and half of his team died. And this was at San Luis Obispo,
Oh,
so he
shit.
didn't fly.
Oh.
Yeah, if you guys look it up, there was a plane crash in the plane. He was sitting on the right side of the plane. The plane went left, and everybody that was on the left died. He survived.
I'm sitting.
Oh, wow. I knew he didn't fly, but I didn't know why.
Yeah, so he didn't fly, and so he would drive everywhere in this big Winnebago, and he had this, looked like a horse trailer. They would have all their stuff in it, and they basically wrapped it up with Monday Night Football, and he would put your picture on the side of the horse trailer for the, who he selected as the player of the game. So it's a big deal to be on Madden's horse trailer.
Oh, that's cool.
And yeah, so he in the production meeting, so I ended up making on Madden's horse trailer a game against Warren Sapp. I played with a broken leg and shut him down. He didn't have a tackle or a sack. Didn't even make a play that day. So
Good, because fuck that guy. App.
yeah, he's the best is he's obviously still salty at me because
Yeah.
here we are all these years later, like a couple months ago, all of a sudden randomly in the news he started talking shit on me, and I got it forwarded a bunch of people. And
Yeah.
I'm like, he must still be fucking mad at the ass whoopings I laid on him for him to be fucking pissed off at me all these years later. So
Warren Sapp is talking shit about you?
He was. He just said in like an interview they were asking him who he liked to talk the most shit to, and one of the people was John Wellborn, and like tons of people even tons of people forwarded it to me. Like they're like, look at your boss. Like
That sounds like a beta move.
That is a
Warren was a little salty at me because I remember I knocked him down one play, and as I waited a split second as he went to get up, I teabagged him on national TV. So I don't know if you guys know what the teabag is, but you knock a guy down, and you wait as he's going to get up, you step over him and basically wipe your nuts on his head. And I teabagged him, and actually I think the announcer oh my God, did you see that? He just got a teabagged him. So his feelings were hurt. Hey, but Seth's a crazy person, dude. He talked crap on Michael Strahan for making the Hall of Fame, and let me tell you, I played against both those guys for a long, long time, and Stray brought it every single game. That guy was a warrior and a badass. I mean, he gave Runyon fits. I mean, he was a guy when we went in, we specifically game planned for how to attack Stray, and to have Seth talk shit on him just shows you how classless and what a shitty player he is. So.
all right. So Power Athlete, how many entries were at the original CrossFit Games in 2007? How many competitors?
Competitors? 150.
No, it's under 100.
30.
Final answer?
No, not
30.
final answer.
74.
What place did you take?
I didn't compete. I didn't compete again until 08.
What's our answer?
The
here?
over under, I'll give you like 10
It's like
differential.
It's in the 70s, I think.
You want to go 75?
74, I thought it was.
All right,
Text.
the real answer is 70. I'm gonna let you have it.
All right.
You're
No, I never saw it, but I knew it was in
Yeah, I
the
didn't see that
70s
much.
because the next year when I competed, it was in the 200s.
Yeah, it's shocking that was only like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Fucking nuts. All right, Barbell Shrugged. Let's see.
Who's an Anne Rand fan?
Oh, Jesus.
That would be me. Bledsoe.
Now, how many people pick up on that reference?
Hopefully everyone.
I'd say about 50% of the people that I talk to.
Should we tell that story?
You know, they either go right on, or they go, I don't get it. So,
is that the Olympic lifting thing, like shrugging the bar, like he's trying to
yeah, it's
shrug
like
it?
it's a double entendre.
It started off as a goof because like when we were over at your old house like 3 years ago. We're at Mike's old house like 3 years ago, and we're all sitting around with just a shitty mic in the middle of the table going, yeah, podcast names, like what would be a good name? And of course you say a bunch of terrible, stunningly terrible names. I go, well shit. I mean, I looked over and saw a gigantic copy of Atlas Shrugged like weighing down your end table. I go, you could name it like, I don't know, Barbell Shrugged or whatever. And we all looked at each other like, well, we can't think of anything better.
I was just going to say that all of a sudden the clouds opened up, the angels started singing, birds were chirping, and sunlight shined on you guys, and you're like, ah, barbell.
Yeah, like the way we got our really unique name was just like that. It's so unique.
Well, you know how the Power Athlete name came about, don't you?
What's that?
Do you know where even the Power Athlete name came from?
When
I know, but why don't you tell me?
Forging Powerful Athletes from way back when.
All 37 listeners. Well, when we started CrossFit Football, we had a tagline called Forging Powerful Athletes. Yeah. And at a dinner with Greg Glassman, he said to me, he goes, you know, having something that's Forging Powerful Athletes makes it look like elite athletes aren't powerful because they're making a distinction. Would it be better? And really what you're doing is creating power athletes. And I looked at him and I thought, that's a great name. And I went home and started the company.
You son of a bitch, you're a genius.
And I was like, sounds good, thanks, Coach. And that was the end of it. So we got away from the Powerful Athlete and we just went to Power Athlete. And that's been our trademark and the name of the company and pretty much everything ever since. So,
right, speaking of which, trivia.
Stole another thing from Glassman.
Trivia question. Can you guys name Greg Glassman's first wife? Not us, but Barbell Shrugged. Can you guys name Greg Glassman's, I don't know if he's had multiple wives, but
yes,
his first wife.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, come on.
I know I've gotten
Topanga.
emails. No.
Is it Fran?
It's not Topanga.
He's like, I got to name a workout that hurts so bad that I'll always remember why I named it. Maybe they called it Fran.
Was it lawsuit?
Yeah, that was the lawsuit.
No, that was the second one.
Oh,
Wow. Married. Yeah, he was married before Lauren.
Oh, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah,
Lauren's the one that I know. The name was escaping me, but that's who I was thinking of.
Jillian Michaels.
Yeah, yeah, Lauren. I remember when going and hanging out at Greg and Lauren's house and sitting there on the computer looking at the CrossFit message boards with them. So.
Isn't she still posting the workouts on the main site?
No, PAHQ is posting the workouts.
PAHQ.
Who is?
I don't know who that is.
The clown.
Oh. That's a letdown.
Okay, the next trivia question's for you guys, provided by us. Which two members of Barbell Shrugged have been the image for CrossFit Football workouts? Ready, go.
What?
Which two members of Barbell Shrugged have been on the CrossFit Football website?
Oh, okay.
The workout of
on
the day.
the blog. Oh.
Do you know, Jimmy?
It's one of them's Bledsoe.
I'm going to say Jeff.
And I can't remember who the other one is, but I remember putting up Bledsoe's name because...
oh, no. Who's your other guy?
There's four of us.
There's another guy.
CTP.
The other one. It's the other one. Yeah, CTP.
It's the only shirtless picture of me on the internet. This should probably say that way.
Yeah, Bledsoe and CTP.
Yeah, I knew it.
Do you have long hair?
I think so. No,
Sweet.
I don't know.
Well, the crazy part is I've programmed CrossFit Football pretty much every single day since 2009, so I remember most of it.
Well, the only reason I know is because I blew up a picture of CTP and I put it on my bedroom wall.
I thought you were saying CTP.
I told you that in confidence.
John, I told you that in confidence.
I want to see a picture of
the air.
Email me about the secretary gig.
Like I got this pencil skirt and these high heels, and I look wonderful in a blouse with a pearl necklace.
Oh my god. Next question. Next question. Okay, so for us, so this will be a good one. What does the tattoo on Rich Froning's side, Rofro, as we'll call him, what does it say?
Galatians 6:14.
It's
I'll give you a hint. It's religious.
13:17, I think, is this.
That is, both are inaccurate, or those your final
16.
answers?
It's Philippians, was it 6:14?
No.
Fallopian? That book wasn't allowed in the Bible.
You guys know?
Galatians 6:14.
It is. That's accurate.
That's probably because
Where's
he
the quote?
has a poster of Froning over his bed.
Oh, yeah.
What is
It's actually a fat head.
The penitent man shall pass.
That's from
Also
Indiana
in,
Jones.
Indiana Jones.
No.
Only a leak from the lion's head will he prove his worth.
Okay, so let's go. I'll ask Barbell Shrugged. Do you guys know what Annie Thorsdotter's last name really translates to?
Yeah, Thor's
daughter.
God damn it, John. I'm asking them.
Daughter of Thor.
Daughter of Thor.
Yeah,
Thor's daughter.
That's
You
too-
said it.
it's too easy.
Why didn't we get that one?
Is that right? Is that good? Like, sounds like.
Can you guys name one?
Who's this for?
It's for them. Can you name one CrossFit athlete that can bench more than Luke Summers?
Well, how much does Luke Summers bench?
Do we only have to name one?
Annie Thor's daughter.
How much do you bench, Luke?
Yeah, what do you bench?
Should I tell him?
Yeah.
361 pounds and a shoelace on the bar.
Ah.
It's a PR.
Annie came and worked out with us one day, and actually she was stronger than Nate.
She rep Nate's weights out?
Yeah, like she laid down and she's like, oh, I've never done this bench press thing. I think she benched like 225. Everybody was like, Jesus. The other awkward thing is she went to hug me goodbye, and I went to put my hand on her back, and I totally grabbed her butt because I didn't realize that her butt was somewhere in like her fucking shoulder blades. Her legs were so long. This is really awkward.
It's an honest mistake.
Yeah.
So maybe Rob Orlando.
Virtually anyone.
Oh.
Well, no, but in a pinch, you just go with Rich Froning.
It's got to. He's got to.
Well, who has a man crush in this room on Rob Orlando?
Robbo? He's so cute. You can hold him in your arms.
Yeah. When we went to go at the games, we're over there talking to Rob Orlando, and I look at Luke, and he's just like has this like smile on his face and like butterflies in his eyes. I'm like, are you smitten? He's like, oh my god, he's so handsome.
He's
handsome. Man.
He's adorable.
He's so cute. And then he like kicked a rock and like ran away with his like reflux. I was like, did you just run away all pigeon-toed? It's like, it's so weird.
He is adorable. He's an adorable guy.
We should get him on the show.
Oh, totally.
You should.
He's coming out.
Let's see, what else do we have? All right, just out of matter of opinion, because I know you guys have interviewed both Camille or Christmas Habit.
Actually, we haven't had Camille yet, but Christmas Habit.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, okay. Really? It's
But you
kind
can imagine what it'd be like.
But you can.
Yeah, I think it's hands down.
You can or you have.
It's like I've had her several times. She just doesn't know about it.
Oh shit. Yeah, we had a great time with Christmas Habit. I think. I don't know. Camille would have to jump through some hoops. I think.
Camille would have to do a lot.
Yeah.
I think she's too busy to do all the work it would require to win the #1 spot.
Who is the hottest? Who's the hottest chick you guys have interviewed?
Julie Fouché. Hands down. End of question.
What'd you say?
Fouché.
Oh yeah,
Who?
she's cute. Julia Fouché.
Julie
Julie
Fouché
Fouché.
is CP's pick, and I don't know if any one of us are prepared to argue, really. You can find out they're very interesting choices, but you can't really displace Julie, I suppose.
That is so true, Chris.
So are you guys Keanu Reeves fans at all?
I watched my fair share amount of Keanu movies.
Okay.
Like walking the house.
Well, I mean, if she's going to ask us what our favorite Keanu
Point Break was one of the best movies of all time. I think
Of all time.
Yeah.
Of all time? Can you? What's his name? What's his character's name? That's too easy. Or do you not know?
What?
What's the character's name? What's Keanu Reeves' name?
For us?
What?
Yeah.
For Power Athlete.
Yeah, for us.
Johnny Utah.
Okay.
Oh, in Point Break?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was a trick question because
So-
everybody knows you. Utah, give me 2.
So Luke Summers here, there was a live.
I'm basically a celebrity.
There was a live performance of Point Break that came to town, and it's like you get to interact with the crowd, and they pick
It's
one
called
person.
Point Break Live.
Like
Yeah,
a
Point Break Live.
theatrical,
That's what.
like a theatrical performance, you mean?
Exactly. That's exactly right. And
Wow.
they choose one person from the crowd, and wouldn't you know it, they chose little Luke Summers in the front row, waving his hand, and he got to play. You got to play Johnny Utah for the entire thing.
Yep. And you just they get you drunk, and then you just say you're supposed to be the worst actor out there, and
Where's this at? Where do you do this?
there's one in LA, but they came to Orange County right down the street from our gym, and we just had our Christmas party, and we all walked over there.
I drove you.
Yeah, we all piled in the van and got tickets there and walked in and had a blast.
Yeah, so that
we're
was
going to be in California like at the end of May. We should all go to that.
Oh,
They have it regularly?
Let me check.
Luke's
There's
gonna
this thing
check.
called the internet where you can check these things out.
Hey, Luke.
Break live. Yo.
Any relation to the Mark Summers from Double Dare?
He's my gay uncle.
Physical challenge.
All right, let's see. They also have Terminator 2 Judgment Play, where they do T2 live.
What?
That sounds
What character do they pull from the audience you got to play?
That's weak.
Well, CTP doesn't approve.
I don't approve of the Terminator 2 program. You wait in line too freaking long for what you end up seeing.
You want to talk about it, or?
Not really, no. And it's really not that 3D. It's supposed to be like 3D, and it's like not 3D. It's like 1992 3D. It's like, come on, man, can we update this program?
What are you guys coming out here for in May?
CrossFit regionals. Maybe you've heard of it.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
we're gonna
never.
come hang out the week after the SoCal regional, I think.
Nice.
So the last event they have posted is April 20th right now. So I'm sure they'll have it in May. It looks like twice a month.
Oh, maybe we'll get lucky.
But
Maybe.
So do you guys? So who's, just for since this has all been like a male-driven, who's the hottest guy you guys have interviewed in person? Anybody who you're like, not as hot in person as him?
I can answer that easily. The hottest dude, the guy who
If you
makes
say Rich Froning, I swear to God.
No, it's got to be Carl, man. Carl Paoli's the one who makes you question what you're all about. I think.
Yeah, I'd say when I met
he's
Carl, when I met Carl, it may not be just purely looks because I'd seen him on film and pictures.
No
and
boners.
I wasn't exactly taken, but the moment I locked eyes with him, there was a moment, and I did question my sexuality. But if you're going just off pure looks, it might be Rich Froning.
I don't know, that Roy McKernan dude, we haven't interviewed him, but fuck, is he not the prototypical, like, tall, dark, handsome? If I was gay, I think I'd go Roy.
Well, Rory's
Who?
not only Roy McInerney.
I gotta Google him.
But
What is it, Macca?
if you look at him versus, I don't know if you guys know who AJ Feely is, who's married to Heather Mitz. AJ was our backup quarterback in Philly. They look identical, so I have a hard time.
Wait.
Rory.
What's this guy's name? I definitely need to.
He did all the HQ, like, he did all the Open. He was like the commentator for the Open.
Put in Rory CrossFit. Just put in
Rory CrossFit.
Yeah.
CrossFeeder.
He got Garrett Fisher.
Rory
McKernan.
Don't replace my poster above your bed once you see this guy.
Yeah, this Rory guy is pretty easy on guys. He's handsome.
He's got just
All right,
enough
I'll take that.
shadow.
Anyways, back to the show.
Just enough 5 o'clock shadow to make it interesting. He looks enchanting. Looks mysterious.
He has a lot of
trivia. So trivia.
Wanting him, needing him, thinking of him.
I'd rather just talk. All right, so let's go on to another Keanu Reeves movie. Can you name? This is for Barbell Shrugged. Can you name full name of Keanu Reeves' character in Speed?
Oh.
Speed 1 or 2.
Come on. The only Speed.
I don't know. I saw Speed 2 theaters with my mom. It was pretty epic.
There's no way I'm gonna be able to pull that from a memory bank anywhere.
Oh, are you serious? Way to go, Jack. Way to
His
go.
name is Jack.
Blank.
Yeah.
I'll give
His first name is Jack, but I can't remember his last name.
Officer Jack. What?
Travers or something like that?
Oh, you're so close. I gotta give it to you because it's Travin.
Travin.
Holy
Yeah.
shit!
Pretty good.
I saw that movie.
I'll give it to him.
I hated it, to be honest.
Are you serious?
I kind of like just brain dumped it. I watched it and I was like,
Not even Dennis Hopper's intense portrayal of the crazy villain with his finger on the trigger.
Way to go, Jack. Way to go.
That's the first time that Dennis Hopper and Keanu Reeves have been in a movie. Can you name the other one that they've been in?
Are you hijacking this right now?
You know what? It just
Was Keanu Reeves in the Super Mario Brothers
I was
movie?
about to say, wasn't Dennis the King Koopa? Like, what the fuck's that about? King Koopa's a human? Get the shit out of here.
There's another one where Dennis Hopper's character is named Feck, and he's a drug dealer.
Bill and Ted?
No.
Wow,
It's like a drama.
Wow,
It's not like a
Bill
comedy.
and Ted was a
like
drama.
adolescent teens getting in trouble. No?
Nothing, Denny.
Nothing. It's called The River's Edge.
Ooh.
What about the movie with Kiefer Sutherland and Dennis Hopper?
Kiefer Sutherland.
Oh, shit.
You remember where he played an FBI agent, and Kiefer Sutherland was an FBI agent, and Dennis Hopper was like a hippie on the run that they had like an FBI warrant.
Don't know.
And
Pass.
Yeah, that's a pass one. That's pass one.
what is that movie called?
Do you even know?
No, I wasn't asking trivia. I was just looking for information.
He's watched a good movie tonight.
Yeah, I went on Netflix.
Let's pull our iPhone and say just what they said into it and see if Siri can figure that one out. You know, Dennis Hopper plays a hippie, and the other guy's the FBI agent.
You are an idiot. You're like, thanks, Sarah.
Yeah.
Thank you for the vote of confidence again.
You have this technology in your hand that can literally answer any question that a human can come up with, and that's the question you ask, and it tells you go fuck yourself. That's probably what it would be.
Go fuck yourself.
All right, last Keanu Reeves movie. Did you guys see Forever Ronin?
No. Yes.
No? All right, so this is for us. You did?
Yeah.
Okay, what's his character's name?
No, it's
It's actually 47.
Rosa. Raja
Ghul.
Raja Ghul. No, it's like, are you?
That was from Batman.
Yeah, I know.
No, what's his
shit. Well, that's what I'm asking you.
No, it begins with an R.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't?
No.
Denny, text, any help?
Just thinking here.
I never got a
with my
chance
phone.
to see the movie.
Yeah, well, the problem is I stole it on Pirate Bay and it was a cam, so it wasn't very good.
Just kidding.
Just kidding.
Hi.
We do that.
K-A-I.
Yeah, you
Kai.
you just Googled it. Good job, Tex. That's right.
You know what? I did watch the 300 last night, and I gotta say, it sucked.
The new one?
The new one's fucking shit, man.
Really?
Why?
I mean, you probably didn't go into it with the right state of mind.
Yeah, your expectation was too high.
Try to go in with the right state of mind, and it'll be amazing.
The first one had more of a real story. The second one was just action the whole time, which was
Yeah,
cool,
the girls
but it's not very
narrated.
good.
Yeah, I thought they had a good sex scene. I mean,
That's what I was going to say.
So wait a minute.
Yeah, that's a pretty rough sex scene.
Yeah,
There's
I flipped
sex
my wife's
scene?
hand in my lap for that one.
So there's a sex scene in action.
And yeah, it was awesome.
Are there
Sounds
cars?
great.
Is
What
there?
else do you need, man? You got boobs and
With
fighting
the
and
Rock
blood.
in it. If the Rock had been in it, Luke would have already seen
Wait, the
it.
Rock's
There
in
were
it?
explosions. There was fire.
Wait till Hercules comes out.
I'm pretty.
John, have you ever met The Rock?
Yes.
Is he cool?
Yeah, he was way cool. When I played in Philly, Tom Canady, who we've been trying to get on the show, he was an assistant strength coach down in Miami when Dwayne Johnson was there. So every time They would
call
come
them
in.
the Rockets cool?
So we can call them the Rockets. So, well, that's the hilarious part was when I walked in the weight room, all the WWE guys had been in there training, and the Rock was sitting in there, and I walked over, and we were kind of rapping a little bit, and I was like, "Hey, I'm John," and I was expecting for him to introduce himself as the Rock, and he was like, "Hey, I'm Dwayne," and I had no idea what
Who's Dwayne?
Yeah, I was like, "Who's this Dwayne guy?" And he's like, and then we lifted some weights. And he gave us tickets, and I got to be in the front row for WWE. We got to go backstage. And
did he sign your
What year was that? What year was that, John?
Probably right around 2002, 2003.
Okay, too late.
So we got to meet John Cena, who was fucking yoked. That guy was like
Shocker.
He was literally as wide as he is tall. Like he's probably like 6'2". Like that dude's shoulders were so wide. I'm like, God damn it, that dude is fucking built like a.
And he's a hell of a lifter, that guy.
Yeah, he's super strong. I mean, he bangs weights. I mean, I know he Olympic lifts, and he's on Jack Street. And I know a bunch of the WWE guys train down in New Orleans, and they all love CrossFit and they all bang weights. I mean, like see those guys in their schedule, it's pretty impressive. But man, The Rock, which blew me away, is I mean, he was in pretty good shape, and then he kind of like they had this deal where Tom Canavy was always kind of helping him with his programming. And then he was, Hollywood, didn't think that he could be kind of a leading star, being a big muscle guy, and he completely fucking kicked that door in, because he sunk it, kind of small for all those Scorpion King stuff, and then all of a sudden he came out for what was it, Pain and Gain, or for was it like the Fast and Furious, and that dude was fucking trapped out of his ears, so looks pretty good.
He's looking pretty jacked for Hercules as well. The guy's huge.
Yeah, I saw an interview with him where he trained 4 hours a day, 7 days a week for 8 months, didn't have a cheat meal, like basically lived like a monk, and he was talking a little bit about his training for Hercules.
He doesn't age at all.
Well, he's Samoan and black.
I know,
so
it's
he
amazing.
pretty much has perfect genetics.
We put out all this information on diet. We have articles all over Power Athlete. The one thing that's gotten the most hits is when we
breakdown of The Rock's meal plan.
A breakdown of Dwayne Johnson's meal plan.
So he posted his kind of macro, like how many meals he does in his macro breakdown on Twitter, on Instagram.
Well, it's just a food breakdown, and
well,
we put the macros together.
Well, no, it was the food breakdown with the amounts. So he was like 9 ounces of this, and so we went down and actually I saved it because it was just like an Instagram photo or Twitter deal, and then we went down and broke it down and how many calories he was eating. And it was like, what was it? It was like 450 grams of protein and like right around 500 grams of carbs and like 10 grams of fat.
Yeah. Super low fat.
Oh, I mean, and it's classic bodybuilder diet, and you have it always blows me away that as far as we go and as much as we know, we just seem to get dumber with time. Like people are like, oh, the only way people are going to get in shape is this paleo deal, and they get through. And you're like, dude, let me tell you, man, people have been eating a higher protein, higher carb, lower fat, lifting heavy weights, and doing low impact, low endurance, longest cardio, and been shredded off that for fucking years.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, dude, like you go back and you look at any classic bodybuilder, and bodybuilders have perfected the art of creating a bigger, super lean, not necessarily. We always talk about the difference between usable and non-usable muscle, but in terms of creating big, lean, jacked dudes, bodybuilders got that shit on tap. And if you look at their diets, higher carb, higher protein, low to moderate fat, and the way they do is they get such a high volume of food that's not super calorically dense, so their body takes a lot of effort to digest it. And it's not super calorically dense. I mean, when you start looking at a lot of paleo stuff, where all of a sudden you get into this like 60% fat. All of a sudden people are saying satiate longer, but it's just like, less food, but it's just super calorically dense. So it's interesting, but yeah, we're like freaking out, like, how could he eat that much? And then you got the paleo people being like, oh, it's impossible. How is he in such good shape like this? I'm like, dude, this is what bodybuilders have been doing forever. Like where do you think like all this information we learned all this in years? I mean, it's great.
Speaking of The Rock, so this is for Barbell Shrugged.
We got this shit.
How many Fast and Furious movies are there?
I thought it was going to be about The Rock.
No.
Isn't there 6?
There's 6. There's 6 out, I think.
It just doesn't stop.
I thought there was 7. Or is it good?
No, 7 hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, 7 has not been made yet.
Yeah, well, no, they're in production of 7, but Paul Walker died.
No, he didn't.
Well, thanks for bringing that up again, John.
Illuminati.
Illuminati.
So yeah, they're gonna have to go kill off Paul Walker. I mean,
That is
I know they make a
accurate.
lot of money, man, but I feel like you got to draw the line somewhere. I've seen you go Fast and Furious a whole bunch. I mean, there's going to be as many Fast and Furious movies as Star Wars movies.
I'll tell you, I will see every one of them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I like if they're putting out a Fast and Furious movie, I'm going to see it.
And I'm gonna speed there.
Is Ludacris still in that in the movies? I know he was in one of them.
Luda. You know it.
Luda's been in a lot of them.
He's been in 5. He was in 5.
Yeah, he was in 6.
Because
He was in
understand,
4. You know, he was in 4 too.
they're the most
Do you
elite.
have to watch them sequentially, or do they kind of stand alone?
No, they
No, you
can
can-
stand alone.
A year ago for my birthday, these guys got me all the Fast and Furious in DVDs, and I had a DVD player in my truck, and so anywhere we'd ever go anywhere, we would watch different Fast and Furious.
You know what's
movies.
better is if you just don't watch them at all.
Kelly was sitting in the back being like, I can't believe I've watched Fast and Furious movies for
And I can
12
quote them
hours
all, and I absolutely fucking hate them. But it just,
Well, it's
Fucking
the
bite your
same.
tongue.
It's the same lines each fucking movie.
yeah.
1 more job. 2 precision drive.
So, is Fast and Furious your favorite movie, or what's your favorite movie of all time, John?
Favorite movie of all time.
It's going to be some obscure, like, documentary.
Rocky 3.
You know, the training montages in Rocky 3 and Rocky 4 are really, probably the best.
Is that where cinematography peaks, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, dude, I like the whole Clever Lang deal where he's in like the basement gym. I mean, that was like, that was the mindset we always had for training. But God,
Goosebumps.
wow, that's. I don't even know. I there's just too many. I mean, I don't even
It's
know.
a long road.
Rambo?
Rambo.
Yeah, I would probably have to go with First Blood. I mean, yeah, for First Blood. I mean, for me, it was like such a pivotal movie from those kind of 70s kind of like, Taxi Driver and those kind of whole movies moving into like the action hero was really that pivotal movie, and then we get into like the 80s action movies. So I think First Blood's probably the best. I mean, I did name my blog after it. It's a long road.
What's your favorite movie, Mike? Of all time?
I don't have a favorite movie.
It's not fair. You pose it, which I would say I know my favorite experience. I guess that's like chopper noise from Full Metal Jacket, or perhaps what's the other classic Vietnam War movie? Platoon, like fucking this chopper.
Platoon.
The machine gun
Yeah.
fire.
Or even, like,
Question
Saving
of, do you disapprove of my methods?
Apocalypse Now. I mean, to this day,
yeah.
Apocalypse Now is one of
Apocalypse Now.
some of the best war scenes ever.
I mean, anything with Charlie Sheen in it,
It's not Charlie. Wait, is he in that yet? He is.
No.
Or younger.
Platoon. Martin
He's
Sheen's
in
in
Martin
Apocalypse.
Sheen.
Think about he was in Platoon, but think about Charlie Sheen's range. I mean, Martin Sheen was in Apocalypse Now, but think about Charlie Sheen's range. You have him in Platoon, and then you have him in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, probably the greatest range of any actor that we have.
And then you just have his crazy real-life persona.
I mean, the guy's got tiger blood. I mean, that guy coined phrases like "shoot turn."
You call that range or no standards?
What's the difference?
Oh, that's Luke.
All right, John, if you were a
All right, so-
WWF wrestler and you had to walk out to one song, what would it be? What would your intro music be?
Intro music.
I Don't Care, I Love It by Icona Pop.
I love it.
I love it.
Boy.
The Big Bad Wolf.
The Big Bad Wolf.
The Big Bad Wolf.
The Big Bad Wolf. Oh, that's probably one of
John.
the best songs ever. What is it?
I think CTP stumped John.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, that's something I hadn't really thought about.
So do you know
Intro music.
who does that song, The Big Bad Wolf? Because that's a pretty good song.
That would be a great.
That's a great music video.
It's the best music video.
Have you guys seen that?
Have you guys seen that music video? Go on YouTube and type in Big Bad Wolf.
I'll put it in show notes.
Yeah, we'll put it on the show notes, but it's actually like it's a go-to on John's playlist?
The Carly Rae Jepsen Call Me Maybe is actually my ringtone. Right
John's ringtone on his phone is Call Me Maybe. It actually has been since I think.
For a while.
Yeah, like a year.
I think that would actually work for an intro because you would confuse the opponent so much and then intimidate him with your presence, especially if you came in the ring with like a pink one-arm singlet, and you just kind of just shook everybody down and just slammed them.
Yeah.
Well,
what is this music? And then you have the edge immediately.
I'll tell you, I never was a big fan of the entry music, and it's maybe because I as a boxing fan, I was always like a Tyson fan. And do you guys remember when Tyson would actually come running out of the locker room with no robe, with just like the towel split, no music, no socks, black shorts, and he would sprint into the ring and like there was nobody coming out.
He was a crazy person.
And put together. And so for me, like that was like that was the pinnacle. So like any of the guys we ever saw, like I'm trying to think of who the little bantamweight or the featherweight guy is that like dances for like 30 minutes up to, and I can't remember his fucking name right now. But yeah, I always hated intro music. I never liked any of that stuff. I mean,
all the hype.
Like if you ever, I don't know. I mean, I doubt you guys ever saw me play, but I was the worst for like when they would do the introductions where you had to come running out of the tunnel. They would always like call our names, and you had to come running out. As soon as the guy would go ahead of me and it would get clear, I would run as fast as I could, and I would try to beat the announcer before he finished my name on the field. So like most of the guys, like Ray Lewis does this fucking stupid fucking dance for 30 minutes. So like I did the exact opposite. I would run as fast as I could and like sprint to the point where I almost pulled a hamstring every time. And I remember like standing there on the sideline, seeing Ray Lewis doing his fucking dance and being like, I'm gonna fucking murder that dude. And the 2 or 3 times I got a chance to hit him, I literally hit that dude with everything I could for the mere fact that I hated his fucking dance.
How did he take it? How was that guy to play against me? I guess he's just a freak athlete like they all are. Did you knock him down? Did you?
So we played Baltimore preseason one year, and that was the year that they got away from the 43 and they were going to go to 3-4. And I remember I was playing left guard. I got down in my stance and I looked up. And I actually saw Ray Lewis for the first time in my NFL career because Ray was real good about hiding behind those big fat defensive tackles. So he had like Saragusa and all fucking Goose and a piece of shit. But all those other guys, I mean, all their D tackles were always like 340, 350 pounds. And Ray was real good about playing right behind him. He always played outside your vision. And then his deal was he would just jackknife in because he never wanted to hit a lineman. He was always big on playing one-on-one on the back and, always wanted to make those big shots because he knew, he was never going to fucking truck a 300-pound dude. So all of a sudden they're playing 3-4, and I remember I took a little zone step on an inside zone and I came out and, as, a linebacker playing that position, your job is actually to butt up the guard, try to shed him and make a play. Ray had never played in that defense, and they were going to try to go to 34 that year, and I came out and actually zone stepped him and knocked him down. And I remember him like screaming and going crazy, and that was the last time they ran the 34 defense. I never saw him again for years. And
this guy's cheating. He hits too hard, Coach.
Well, no, I mean, but it's kind of it makes sense because you're like, hey, if I'm Ray Lewis, I'm fast, I want to make plays, and the last thing I need to do is shed some 300-pound monkey running at me. So it just makes sense. I mean, let me cheat behind the tackle. I mean, I remember watching him for years on film, and he was so good about letting those guys come off him, taking a step, and then jackknifing where he needed to go, and that's a smart defense. But I mean, I played against a lot of 34 defense inside linebackers. I mean, like a guy like Levon Kirkland, who was 6'1", 300 pounds, and when Levon stepped up, he would hit you like a ton of bricks, or would totally swindle you and make you look like a fool. So it just is kind of like the defense really picks the player, and Ray played defense where they allowed him to play that position, and more importantly, he had zero responsibility. So, I mean, if you say to a guy, you have no responsibility, just make plays, and he can do whatever he wants. I mean, Junior Seau was the same deal. I remember, like, after Junior's second or third year, they basically said to him, you have no responsibility, just get the guy with the ball. And playing against Junior was absolutely the biggest welcome to the NFL moment.
Was that your first?
Yeah, well, I had two welcome to NFL moments with Junior. One was on the field, and one was off the field.
Yeah.
So I remember, I think it was my third, fourth year, I was an alternate. I kind of got screwed out of the Pro Bowl, And because the guys on my team knew I got screwed, they actually paid and took me to Hawaii with them. And when I was over there, I had played against Junior that year, and he was like, saw me and was like, hey, you're with me this week. And so literally Junior and I went everywhere, and that dude was by far like the hardest rider I've ever been around. Like we drank until 2 or 3 in the morning. I remember throwing up in my hotel room, looking out the hotel window, the balcony, and seeing Junior run on the beach like 2 hours later. Like he didn't sleep.
Wow.
So he was
not like the other people. It's a real X-Man, I guess.
he was superhuman. I mean, I've never in my life seen anybody move faster, hit harder, and come back play after play. I mean, I remember young guy playing, stepped out, and I remember we were running a little outside zone, and I easily had 10 yards on him, and that dude crossed my face and ran past me. Like it was theoretically impossible with the angle I took. Like there's no way it should have happened. And that dude beat me across my face. He was that fast and that explosive. And then he threw me under the table for 7 nights. So
yeah, I'm always impressed to see people who are so good at what they do that they can make somebody who gets paid a very good wage to stop them from doing it. They cannot be stopped. That's how fucking special and athletic and talented and powerful and explosive they are. Rip to Junior Seau, man. I feel bad the way it turned out for him, but rest his soul. Shit.
Yeah, I was pretty broken up when I heard the news that he killed himself. I mean, he was always, I mean, one of those guys I looked up to, and was, you know, I had those 2, you know, very personal moments where like that dude, I played against him for years. I mean, he was just, you watched him on film and you thought like, fuck, like I gotta strap it up, like, and here's the deal: the dude could outrun you, and he could run over you, and he was everywhere. So I was, yeah, he was like the nicest guy in the world. I mean, I remember after the game, him coming over to me and giving me a big hug and being like, you know, it's always good to see young players coming along. Don't worry, you're going to be good. And I'm like, fuck, you know. And I was like in my 2nd or 3rd year, and I remember as an older guy coming out there battling against him, and you know, him being like, see, I was right. You know, or, you know, John Perella, who was their defensive tackle.
It's great.
You know, playing against Perella and like coming over and him being, you know, like it was always cool. Like the NFL was a great fraternity. There were really good guys you played against, and there were a lot of pieces of shit I played against that if I saw them on the street, I'd probably pull over and fucking hit him with my car.
Would you hit Tony Saragusa with your car?
I'll tell you, the Goose was an interesting one. The last thing you wanted to do was have, you know, fuck up and have him do a stupid fat Goose stance. So he was, but you know what? Goose was one of those guys where he would lull you into a false sense of confidence. He would basically dog it for like a whole bunch of plays because he knew he only had to make like 1 or 2 good plays a game. So he would kind of lull you into a false sense of confidence, and the minute you like slowed down or would like take it easy a play because you didn't think he was coming off, all of a sudden he would like turn it on, and then he'd be doing this fucking goose dance, and you'd feel like a moron. So
was that same thing really fat and tired? Like, oh, I got one good play on me. Let me save it for the moment where I can actually make it happen.
Well, yeah, but if you think about it, as a defensive lineman, that's all you really got to do.
Yeah.
Like,
Don't wait to sleep
if you know, as a defensive lineman, if you have 10 sacks and you had 6 tackles for losses as a defensive tackle, that was like an all-pro season. So that's really only 1 play a game. You know, Sean Rogers was like that. I remember going up and playing him against Detroit, and I remember beating on that dude for quarters, and then somewhere in the 3rd quarter, he decided that this was his series to come out, and like this dude ran through my neck for 3 plays, and then after that he got 2 tackles for losses and like drove us back, and yeah, I mean killed us, and then shut it down for the rest of the game. I was like, thank God.
Did you ever face any high motor guys like J.J. Watt who did not take a play off?
Yeah, and those are the guys that you know that, you know, we talked about that. You got to bring your hard hat and your lunch pail, and you know you're going to be in for a heavyweight fight. But actually, I'm better with those guys because you know that they're going to come every play, so you just know you got to strap it up and battle for 3 hours. The guys that get you are the dudes that don't play. That we call it like the dead fish, where they would go out and dead fish you for 3 hours, and then all of a sudden like, wah! And like throw a move on you, and you're like, dude, he got me. And I mean that happened, but I'd much rather play against a guy like J.J. Watt, where it's, you know, hitting big punches, big hits, and you get to just go out and crush it and bang heads every day. I mean that's a fun day. That's a good day. I mean, you know, and then you play against other guys. Like I remember my first start at guard was against Leon Lett. I don't know if you guys know, if you guys are old enough to remember Leon Lett, they call him the Big Cat. And I remember playing against Leon Lett my first start at guard my 2nd year, and like that was that was a dude that literally got off the ball. I mean, he would watch. It was crazy in his stance, in his head stance, and he would watch the crook of the quarterback's hip. And the minute that the quarterback squatted to take the snap, he would get off, and that's what he timed. He didn't watch the ball; he watched the quarterback's hip. And the very first play, he was so quick off the ball that I stopped going on the snap count, and I started going on his hand. I would just look at his hand. When his hand moved, I'd go. And so when you watch it on film, it's hilarious because we're both moving before the ball is snapped every play. And I mean,
was the last trivia question about football? I forgot where we left off.
No.
So
No.
pretty cool. Yeah,
I think John gets credit for the point, though.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun job.
We got a meeting in a couple minutes.
Okay.
So let's shut it down.
Start to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Well, I guess one thing I wanted to ask is just for my own curiosity, and Power Athlete, like our tagline is, what are you training for? So I guess I was just curious with the conclusion of the Open, if you guys did it, and if so, what are you guys training for?
Yeah, now that it's over, what's your standard go-to?
Joint health.
Yeah, we're managing injuries over here. We are. So none of us really were able to. None of us signed up for the Open because we knew that Doug and I, neither one of us can go overhead. And then if pull-ups come up, Chris Moore is probably.
Well, yeah, gravity sort of rides me harder than most. That's a kind of way of saying I'm too fat to do a bunch of pull-ups. But really, I'm training for just the sheer pleasure of doing heavy deadlifts and drinking margaritas in my garage gym. That's what I live for. That's fantastic time.
Yeah,
Simultaneously?
For me,
yeah, I drink and do deadlifts and stuff all the time. It's the best.
Yeah, for me, I'm working on my shoulder. If it gets healthy enough, I should go to nationals for weightlifting this year. That's only if the shoulder does what it's supposed to and heals up quickly enough.
Yeah, on my end, I used to fight MMA, and I haven't had a fight in over a year now because I've been battling some pretty nasty neck pain, and it's I've been getting therapy for that pretty consistently, and it's finally starting to go away. Like I haven't been able to lift anything.
What do you guys do for your injuries?
It's pretty broad.
Ignore them mostly. No, I'm
you know what? I'm a huge believer in ignoring injuries. The only problem is once enough injuries cumulatively strap up, they basically just shut you down. So
shut it down.
There's a real good doctor that I took these guys to in Salt Lake City, a guy named Dr. Craig Bueller, that when I thought my whole life was coming in, because like the final straw that broke the camel's back basically fixed me, and it's pretty much like the go-to guy for a lot of NFL players. So if you guys are
maybe we should get that guy's contact info because we're all broken in one way.
And
you're more broken than me. I'm relatively unbroken compared to you, I guess. I go overhead.
Yeah, John, you had a slap tear back in the day, didn't you? Can you go overhead with that?
Yeah, I tore my not only had a slap tear, but also I tore my interspinatus. Does that sound right?
Super spinatus?
Supraspinatus? Yeah, super spinatus.
And
so I tore mine about 80%, and then after some PRP injections and some stuff, recently when it was MRI, it was 100% healed. But the only problem is because I had such laxity in my shoulder, like the back of my capsule's all worn out. So I have really limited range of motion going overhead, especially on my right shoulder. So, but I mean, oddly enough, I can do pull-ups. It's just I can't like really snap my head through anymore with my left hand. So it's pretty much.
Can't meet the standard.
Yeah, so I can't meet the standard. I got this bone chip in the back of my knee that's hurting me from going ass to ankles. So.
Okay, yeah, we're kind of in the same boat there. I can't push my head through. Even if I tried to, it would hurt, and I don't try to anymore, but there's no way I'd be able to. If you look at me from the left, there's no way I'd get my head through.
Yeah. Dr. Bueller was great. I mean, I wish I had run into him earlier in my career, just because of the magic he's able to work. So I mean, he works with a lot of Olympic athletes.
He's kind of a hippie too.
No, he's not a hippie.
He's like a little bit holistic though.
Yeah, he's totally holistic. But I think after you've been failed by enough medical doctors, you start looking in other places. And
right.
I've realized that when I go to a doctor and their only advice for me is surgery or a joint replacement, you gotta go out and find out.
He's sort of like an injury whisperer. Like he can find shit in your body that you didn't know.
He found out that Callie's soul was broken, and he looked right through her, and then she ran away.
Wow, that happens.
I went to a rheumatologist one time. I swear I met with that guy for 30 seconds, and he basically told me never to exercise again. He was like, "Well, you ever thought about hanging it up?" And I was like, "Holy shit, we barely even had a conversation."
Hanging it up.
Yeah, I when I went for my workman's comp deal, I did see the shoulder specialist, and so he goes and he looks at my MRI, and I figured he'd be like, oh, we can scope the back of your shoulder, and you got some osteophytes, and we can just clean it up and really help your range of motion. So that's what I was expecting, and we sit down, and he's like pulls it out, and he's like, yeah, so I'd like to get you scheduled in. I was like, oh great, we'll talk you through the procedure. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to
buzzsaw.
Yeah, I'm going to take a fucking plane saw, and I'm just going to cut off your shoulder, and then I'm going to take this socket. He's like showing me these metal parts of this stainless steel ball joint. And I was like,
yeah,
please.
Wait, whoa. I just thought you were going to clean it up and get rid of the osteophytes. He's like, no, I'm going to do a total shoulder replacement on you.
Oh, shit.
I was like, no way. I was like, I'm just don't have any range of motion. Like, I can't get my hand over my head. Like, I can get it probably like 75 degrees. I just can't get it all the way. And he's like, yeah, well, your shoulder's worn out. I'm like, there's no way you can just clean it up and give me a little more range of motion. He's like, no, I'm going to replace all the parts. And at that point, I was like, well, you know what? I'm out of here. And the biggest deal he asked me, he goes, well, are you in a lot of pain? I'm like, no, not as long as I don't fucking try to jerk 400 pounds over my head. He's like, well, then what the fuck are you here? I was like, so realistically, the only thing you deal with is like you replace a joint if somebody has pain? And he's like, yeah.
Cash.
I was like, fuck, dude, we're screwed up, man. We got to find a better way to fix this stuff.
Yeah.
So,
well,
thank God
I
for
need
air
contact
loss.
info for that doc in SLC.
Yeah, definitely.
Shoot me an email. You guys can contact. Shoot me an email, and I'll plug you into a whole bunch of in my search to heal myself and to figure it out. I've met a lot of really solid doctors, so I have some pretty good resources to point you guys in a good direction.
Sometimes John can be a little fluffy about certain things, but I will say that this doctor is pretty amazing. I mean, not that you need a seal of approval, but I'm pretty much a skeptic in most things, and this guy is legit. I've seen him do some crazy stuff. So
yeah, he's got some really interesting stuff. I mean, I mean, some of the top athletes, like when I was in there, Thor Birch was in there. Was she Australian
downhill skier,
snowboarder?
Oh yeah,
Thor
snowboarder.
Birch. Yeah, she was the next client. I was like, I think that's Thor Birch. So.
Well, I think that's it on our end. I know we've talked to you guys' ear off for a while. We really appreciate you guys coming on the show and chatting with us a bit.
You guys got anything to plug?
Yeah, we'd love to have you guys on the show next time we're in y'all's area. That'd be cool.
Yeah, you'll have to
regionals.
Stop by the CrossFit football booth and test your vertical jump.
No, God.
I get to warm up, right? It takes me about 20 minutes to do a vertical.
Maybe we could do a live podcast from Cassidy's.
Live podcast from Cassidy's, which is our
Barbell Shrugged.
our local watering hole
Yeah,
/
we could go.
That could be fun.
It's a seedy joint. It's got kind of a low roof. They make a real good burger, and the drinks are real strong.
Let me just put it to you this way: I'm a lady, and I've been thrown out of there twice.
So
I know who I want to hang out with.
Why aren't you a bad girl?
Yes.
Our adopted brother Steve-O has been thrown out of there so many times that actually when we come walking up, the bouncer just points his finger.
He's like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, like it's
You have no business here.
Yeah, like I think the last time Steve was allowed in there, as I was talking to the bouncer trying to prevent him from throwing us out, Steve-O punched the guy in the stomach in between my arm. I think I had my arm on my hip, and he punched the guy through the stomach between my arm. We got thrown out immediately.
But he also didn't he go to the bathroom in the top part of the toilet?
We call that an upper decker car.
Actually, the only person to successfully take a deuce at Cassidy's. And when you guys come visit, you'll understand because
the dimensions of the
bathroom were so small that if you were to open the door all the way, it would hit the
toilet.
So you can't open the door because it would hit the bowl. And there is no door, so Steve-O somehow took a deuce, and the only better part was Andy Stump, who's a buddy of ours, who was going to the bathroom. As he opened the door, spotted Steve-O doing this, kicked the door in, and pinned him against the wall with his pants between his legs. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, we'd love to have you guys there. The drinks are on me.
Yeah,
Excellent.
We should shut this down before John starts using first and last names.
What do we got? We got Wade's Army coming up, right, Tex? So everybody check out Wade's Army. So you Barbell Shrugged guys, check it out. Anyone in Vegas, me and Callie are going to be putting on a show.
Not like
football
What kind of show?
Not David Copperfield. we have a seminar. So
Yeah,
anybody,
CrossFit football.
Hell yeah.
You want to Memphis?
Oh yeah.
And then what else? Anything else?
Do you guys have anything coming up you want to plug?
What do we have coming up, Doug? You're the organized one.
We're going to be at all the regionals coming up. We're going to be at, not all of them, but we're going to be at the Southeast, Central East, the South Central. We might stop by SoCal briefly, maybe Sunday or Monday, pretty late. And then we're going to go up to NorCal. So we're going to be all over the place here coming up. But as far as any time, you can always go to barbellshrugged.com, check out our podcast. We got Barbell Shrugged podcast, which is mostly training, nutrition, and what have you. And then we also have the Barbell Business podcast. So if anyone's out there thinking about starting a gym or is a gym owner and they want to learn the business side of things, we also have that on our separate Barbell Business podcast. And then Mr. Chris Moore here's got the Barbell Buddha podcast.
Yeah, if you want to hang out with me in the confines of your home, we can share a margarita together and talk about a bunch of
Deadlifting.
awesome banter. Yeah, I get a little out there. It's fun. You've got one too, Bloodsopia. We have a whole little network of shows that people can check out and get to know us better.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, guys. Denny, anything else?
Next week,
What is next week?
the greatest week in Power Athlete Radio history.
I thought that was this week.
That was this week.
I'm confused.
Tex, we still got to finalize what's up for next week. So
All right.
let's talk after the show.
Oh,
All right, guys. Thanks for having us.
All right.
Thank you. See you guys.
We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.